The video talks about how short sellers will no longer be able to take advantage of low-cost benefits. Remember how expensive it was to borrow money from AMC and GM? As expected, CTB will rise, and if the reverse repo drops to zero, short sellers will no longer have access to cheap leverage. Let's take a closer look at the subjects we covered, including volatility, liquidity concerns, and the costs of raising capital. For shorts might be more likely to cover at higher prices when there is volatility. This happens because many short sellers who are worried about a lack of liquidity may try to cover their positions. The reverse shop will be the last subject discussed. It's possible that large swings in funding costs or liquidity led to higher interest rates on stock loans when the repo rate fell to zero or became harder to get. It is clear that every component is interrelated and moving in the same direction, which is to force short sellers to cover their holdings. When the high cost of borrowing for AMC and GME became apparent, we saw a price increase, along with increased volatility, volume, and the need for short sellers to use more leverage. We already know this from our studies of the impact that the cost of raising cash has on those with little money. At $78 billion, we are still below the $100 billion mark in reverse repos debates. Now, Mark, considering what we just spoke about, this is obviously fantastic news. It won't be falling steadily as I indicated. You've seen that it fluctuates, so it might be at $90 billion or even more than $100 billion tomorrow. Overall, though, we can see that the reverse repo is declining when you look at a 60, 90, or even 30-day average. This is excellent news for us as merchants, since it indicates that the readily available liquidity for short sellers is starting to decline. It is well known that the reverse repo is just one of several factors that affect borrowing costs, since the cost of borrowing is correlated with the ease with which they can obtain shares. We have previously discussed how they are able to do so, as evidenced by the innumerable FTDs and, of course, the offshores, but more significantly, we've observed how they use cryptocurrency tokens through the tokenization of AMC shares. It was claimed that some firms use the hundreds of billions of AMC tokens they possess to support one another. This is one of the main causes of the drop in borrowing costs from extremely high to low levels, despite their obviously untrue assertions that they were backed by AMC shares. They were nonetheless able to use this claim to lower borrowing costs. These vulnerabilities will persist even if more regulations and limits are implemented. Despite the reassuring fact that liquidity has been permanently decreased, F claims that Apex Clearing may lend your stock to short sellers without your consent, without providing enough remuneration, and without disclosing to you that the lent shares are not entitled for SICP safeguards. I think all apes were already aware of this information. As we previously discussed, AMC and GameStop holders were operating as usual, so this is just another way they try to find shares. Whenever it goes beyond that, it's important to comprehend how these institutions are collaborating to clearly take advantage of the retail industry, because they were fined for lending your shares without your consent, while you're looking for a means to combat the short sellers. The institutions have covertly lent out your shares to them in order to drive the price of these shares clearly against you. This is particularly true if you are among the select few who possess 10,000 shares of AMC, or if you are among those who own any number of AMC shares and have a large number of lend-sharing accounts. You are aware that you have no understandings, or at least that is how you perceive it, and that your shares are solely yours and have not been lent out, though they may have been. You can see how the institutions are cooperating, but what's more important is that they have only been paid $2 million, or rather fined $3.2 million for violations. The reason I say this is because, although Apex has paid $3.2 million, it appears to be a cost of doing business. This means that we made a lot of money, so here's a cut of the money. I mentioned earlier, these penalties need to be increased because if they don't, it will never be a lesson or something that actually stops it from happening. It goes without saying that the value of the investments made by retail investors who had these shares lent out would decrease, since they would then have to deal with the consequences of having it used against them. They were not compensated fairly, as we previously noted, which led to much more investors, more especially retail investors, being screwed. However, they received only $3.2 million, and no compensation was mentioned for them. Furthermore, considering the quantity of the SAT, 150,000 customers, it is clear that the shares may have been AMC, DME, or other shares, depending on the individual. The fact that they are fighting against retail investors, who again don't have that much money in comparison to these big institutions, clearly shows that they are extremely over-leveraged in the short positions with AMC and GME, however we can. See how big this whole situation was, over 850,000 customers, and how easily these things can be done. So when we talk about all of these people who have been manipulating shares, whether they are brokers, clearing institutions, or any other financial institutions, they are all coming together right now to try and fight against the retail investors. As we have noted, it amply illustrates that these positions entail hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. Just as you could have claimed that naked short selling was not real, you are stating that, well, no clearing has been engaging. In this, the clearings would have to notify you and pay you appropriately if they were lending out your shares. And all of these things that were once thought to be implausible, and that holders of AMC and GameStop were merely stating this for the sake of proving that they were all true. And so, like I said, it easily, with all the data we've gathered in the past before, could be hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, that are obviously involved in this now. We can also see, and this is going off with what we talked about yesterday, KBC Group NV acquires 639,000 shares of AMC. So yesterday we talked about how we're seeing institutions change their ratings on, or rather, proving their ratings on AMC. And I talked about how that's a good thing to look at, but it's not something that we should really take into heart. What's more important is actually seeing where firms are buying and holding on to their shares of AMC, and that's what we are seeing right now, and that itself is the most important factor. Well, they could change their ratings, and it does give a good sentiment about AMC ultimately if firms are buying into AMC, is it shows that they understand the potential. It shows that they realize how much money, how much profit they can make with AMC investment. It shows that they obviously understand the fundamentals of the AMC investments, as well as always a closer look at how they are manipulating AMC reveals that while each financial advisor makes sure to perform their own due diligence and research, yesterday's run reminded me of the XRT post, in which they literally shorted the stuffing out of XRT, placing the ETF on the red show list. One or two of the 80 stocks in the ETF that they shorted to target are so dodged. This relates to AMC and GME's stock, as we talked about how there is a liquidity problem with both stocks right now. And XRT is one method they're trying to address that. Therefore, even though their actions are clearly a means of shorting AMC, I agree that it doesn't work. But I also believe that it highlights the dire situation for short sellers and demonstrates desperation. In any case, I appreciate you watching this show. I'll be seeing all of you soon.